The ending made me wanna... Ow. Oh my god. Okay. Hands down. Weapons down, Emily. Hello everyone. Today we are reviewing the highly anticipated Alchemised by Senlin Yu. This is a hefty book. Look at her. Over 1,000 pages. I think someone weighed it. It's over 2 pounds. Let's get into it. So it's been a little bit since we've done a review. Hi, I'm back. Hi, we had some personal stuff going on, but we're back. Like all my other reviews though, we're gonna keep the first part spoiler free, then we'll go into specifics with characters, the plot, quotes, all that jazz. First off though, let's do a quick little summary. We follow Helena Marino. She is a healer we find in this huge war. She no longer has her memories though. There are parts of her memory that she cannot recollect. What the story entails is what she rediscovers as those memories start to pop back up. She also is held captive and she learns a lot more about her capture and whatnot. So this book holds very heavy and dark themes regarding war. I would highly recommend reading the trigger warnings before you read it. I don't think we'll probably go too in depth into any of them really. The biggest ones are like violence and gore, war, and much more entails after that, but definitely read the trigger warnings. This book is a very heavy commentary on war and how people react in a war, how far they go, the sacrifices they make, how much they stick to their ethics, their morals get compromised. Very interesting commentary on that, which I enjoyed a lot because you'll find yourself disliking everyone in some way at some point. And I think that's one of Senlin Yu's primary points is the people that they become during war. No one's pretty, no one's perfect. It's just kind of how far they go and whatnot, we'll say for now. Pacing starts off a little bit slow. There's a lot of world building. There's a magic system. There's an entire geographic world with politic balance and understanding. Palladia, that's the main land the majority of this takes place in. I might be saying that wrong. I try to find like where pronunciations were. I also historically say words incorrectly all the time. Case in point, instead of saying aspartame, for the longest time I said aspartame. Not correct, and that's okay. Pacing was great. Book cover, stunning, beautiful. Look, they match. Look, I'm a little one. I have the US version, so we don't get sprayed edges. I don't really understand what that was about, but I still like my copy. I'm not out here seeking all the exclusive versions. I'm typically good with one. I don't want to say I'm always good with one because there are a couple duplicates on my bookshelf, so I will not be a hypocrite about that. The characters, I kind of touched into them a little bit. You're gonna feel conflicted about the characters, and I think that's the point. My favorite part about this book was the magic system. It's very alchemy focused. I love alchemy. I love chemistry. I've read other series with alchemists in them and I just eat that up. I love that magic system and how those all work together and whatnot. Overall, very enjoyable. I really was like taking my time with this book because I wanted to understand the magic system. One, that took me a while, and also understanding the geography and like the political relationships took a while, but like once you're in it, it gets crazy. It goes very crazy and you'll pick it up much more quickly. I gave it 5 stars. That's gonna be a little bit of a spoiler. There's some parts where I did not enjoy how dark it was. There were other parts where I was like, wow, we're really going this. Okay, we really are getting this dark. That's crazy. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in the plot section because I think just like the realities, obviously like magic isn't real. So what's going on is not happening in these real wars we experience now, just the extent that people go to and the atrocities that will come out of it, we can see that reflected in current day. Let's get into the spoilers though. If you don't get spoiled, save the video. Otherwise, from here on out, we're gonna be talking about spoilers. Let's go into characters. So Helena, for the longest time, I was saying Helena. I really like the name Helena, so when I saw an interview by Sin Yu where they say Helena, I was like, oh. Fine. Helena Marino, I love her. I always love a strong female character who is very underestimated, very powerful, very smart, very strategic. I feel like the frustration I felt with her was how underestimated she was the most. I was frustrated with how she was just shoved aside and utilized as a pawn to control Cain. And I think the ending is what really got me, where I like to think in a world, Enid, I don't know if, I also don't, Enid, I think it's Enid, Cain and Helena's daughter. I like to think she set the record straight and just like maybe waited till her parents passed away and then she set the record straight. And Apollo and Lila helped like with that. Just a part of me likes to believe that, because I'm like, she did so much for the Order of the Eternal Flame and she was just a footnote. But also, I guess that's also reflective maybe of real life, where the people who are actually contributing don't get mentioned. It's just the faces of the operation and whatnot. And also she was a woman, and I was not, this is jumping a little bit ahead, I was not expecting the religious component, how strong it was, and the misogynistic component as well, where women had to like swear themselves that they wouldn't have children if they wanted to even be like in the institute, become a warrior or a healer or whatever. But as soon as they got married and had kids, they had to like stop pursuing a career. I was like, whoa, what are these 1950s ideologies doing here? That's crazy. But Helena, I loved her. At no point I was like, that she's gone too far. I was like, do more, girl. You're not doing enough. I'll support you. Our next character we're gonna talk about is Cain Farron, our male main character, love interest, our spy for the Order and the Undying. What is their name? Moreau's crew, or Cetus's crew, we're gonna call it. Cain was a very complicated character. I think he's complicated, but also he can be kind of simplified to just highly devotional, incredibly possessive, and vengeful, where a lot of what he did was for his mom. He had nothing to live for, then turned to everything he's doing is for Helena. I think it's a tricky thing where like he has killed a lot of people, did a lot of things that he did not want to do. I think there is a certain point where in his situation, if he went against orders, he would just be tortured and killed, and he had to make sure he was in a good position, one, to assist with the downfall of Moreau's crew, the higher up he built, and also to make sure he was alive to ensure the people he loved were safe. So a very complicated character. I'm not gonna excuse what he did, because he did some terrible things. He's a
I will burn down the wall for you
type of love interest and character. I do not care about anyone else. Some people are into that. Helena, not so much. She's like, you can't just do that. Other characters I'd like to talk about. I want to talk about Lila. I want to talk about Lucien, Soren, and then like we'll talk about some of the other. Well, there were a lot of characters. Let's talk about Luce. I'm gonna call him Luce because at first I call him Luke, but then I was like, wait, his name's Lucien, so it's probably Luce. Luce, I felt very conflicted about, because he was born into a family that they just like, I know they have history where their family was now like decided they would be the Principate family, kind of giving royal family, where like the heirs would become the new Principate, the like religious and political figurehead in one. And the whole time I'm like, this is why we need separation of state and church. That's just me. It was very frustrating to me, and this is like, I think personally from my standpoint, where Luce was just leaning so far into the narrative of like my past family members and principates have succeeded. The faith in the gods will protect me, when a lot of those stories were fabricated by his family members, ancestors, previous people, to make it seem like there were these miracles happening, but they were all manufactured by someone, which is crazy to me. So like, I couldn't be that mad at him because he was fed lies. But I feel like, and I forgot the timing of it, I got very annoyed when Luce started pushing away Helena, but then we found out he was like leeched by Moreau or Cetus and that he wasn't acting like himself. But there were still times where he would question her, and I'm like, maybe we should listen to an outsider, because everyone here is suddenly so much on the same page and it's still not going well. So that's just me. Lila, I loved her. She was such an interesting character to me. I loved our like primary paladin. So she's the first guard for Luce. She's a woman, so they hated that because they're like, women shouldn't be warriors or in the institute or anything. And then I love that like she has a baby, goes back, takes out Moreau, and then she's like, everyone's trying to erase history. No, I will be the one to make sure it is straightened out. Loved that for her. Soren was so interesting. I thought we were gonna get a little bit more of him. He was like quieter of the twin. Him and Lila were twins. He's older and he's secondary paladin to Luce, so protector. And he was the one that I felt like had the most similar values, or like what they could do or push past with Helena, because when they go on the suicide rescue mission to get Luce, he's like, do what you need to do. If you need to use necromancy, do it. And I was like, why weren't you guys chit-chatting more? But they kept isolating Helena's and making her seem crazy so that her suggestions weren't taken seriously. Ugh. Moreau or Cetus, we're gonna call it Cetus, because he was mad at Orion because he didn't like how his brother, way back when, like the history of this, like was it 2 generations ago at least or so? No, it was like over 400 years, I think. So Cetus has just been like moving his soul between people. He wanted to get revenge on his brother because he was the necromancer that his brother Orion went up against. And I noticed like essentially he just wanted to rewrite history. I kind of agreed with, I think it was Sebastian who said it, where like he was like, this whole war is over a little sibling like quarrel. And I'm sitting here like, wow, yeah, it is. Like, I understand he had to get support. And it was like the guild versus the institute, the holdfast and everything, because they were so picky about who could attend, which I'm like, they also showed elitist vibes. The guild had elitism, but so did the holdfast. And they were weird for only sometimes taking in foreign students who only were exceptional, but they'll just take in anyone else from like the guild. And I'm like, you guys are both having issues need to work out. Let's talk about the plot. This plot was crazy. I'm gonna break it into parts. I'm gonna talk about the magic system. I wanna talk about the romance, obviously. I wanna talk about the pacing of part 1, part 2, and part 3, and my overall thoughts with the commentary on war, because I think that's the biggest thing. And then just other notable events. First and foremost, the magic system. I've said this so many times. I said it in my reading vlog. I love the magic system. I love alchemy. I own The Alchemist. Has anyone else read the Alchemist series? There's a bunch more. One of my favorite series growing up. I just love chemistry. I love that type of magic. I thought it was so well thought out and so interesting. And I loved how they were like, the noble gases were like legitimately noble, but then they were like, they then implemented that in their politics, and they're like, wait, that one's good, but it's not a noble gas, so like it's not seen as like really high up, which was so interesting to me. I loved how Helena was not only a vivimancer but also an animancer. I believe that's the right word, where like she could go into minds, and then the vivimancer, she can like manipulate bodies both anatomically and physiologically. I loved her. She was so cool. And then to find out that Lila was a vivimancer and Luce was an animancer, I'm like, everyone with these secrets, if people knew about these secrets, we could have been doing a lot more with this the whole time. But maybe if we didn't like villainize these things, he would be more open about it. That's just me. Overall though, I thought the magic system was very well thought out. I enjoyed it a lot. It was probably one of my favorite parts of this entire book. The romance. At first, I was like, this poor girl, Helena. Like, there was no romance in part 1. Obviously. Part 2, the slow burn, I loved. So Helena is set up to be the handler to Cain because Cain's on the Undying side, but he wants revenge for his mom and he hates Moreau and he wants the Order to win essentially. So they start communicating. Helena's sent in there with an ulterior mission to seduce him and make him essentially do whatever she wants. And he kind of knows this already, that they're going to try to get her to do this. As time goes on and she's so kind to him, empathetic, heals him, tries to understand him, feelings start to get developed, and it also becomes confusing because something happens to Cain where he's tortured because he gave up information that really helped the resistance quite a bit, and it was his post that he was supposed to be guarding, so he gets punished. And they put this metal in his back that was like an experiment by one of their like scientists, and Helena finds a way to stabilize it, and it essentially makes him more of a weapon because it was an array of different characteristics. One was like unyielding, one was I think determined, another one was, but essentially like along the lines of like nothing will stop him, he will become possessive, he will do anything it takes type situation. And those feelings start exasperating his feelings for Helena, and he realizes he's too deep in. So it's this very complicated situation where you're like kind of like, does he actually like her because he's kind of being like tricked into liking her, and these metal pieces, the array, his back are heightening his feelings for her. He's also lonely because he doesn't have anyone. Then Helena has been isolated from all her friends because she's spoken out and she's been kind of seen as crazy. And they also are like, if people see that you are close friends with the prince a bit loose, then they'll be like, oh, she's influencing him, so you must stay away. So she's also very alone. So you're like, did she develop feelings with him for Cain out of like having no one else? Some very interesting things to reflect on, but at the end of the day, they leaned on each other. They were like the few that like actually try to understand each other. They have very good chemistry. It was very fun to read about. I love the callbacks in part 2 to part 1 where things come up and are repeated that you don't realize at the time are significant, but then you're like, wait, I read this here before. I enjoyed the romance. I enjoy a morally great character, and I love that they would both do anything for each other. I thought that was fun. The schooling, I kind of wish we like got more of that. I know this is like primarily around the war, but how there was the institute around alchemy, there were the different routes. There's combat route, there's I think healing, metallurgist, I think someone who specializes in metals, and then like you can leave after 5 years or go into like more education. I thought that was all fun. Like I read a whole book about their schooling adventures and what going on there. Just the whole time I was like, there's so much weird misogyny in this. And I love that they were all like female main character or female characters that were having such lasting effects. Like Lila and Helena were really pulling their weight. It was just so frustrating to also read about it. The religious component really got me because I'm personally not a religious person myself. I'm not gonna say used to, raised Catholic, but it's interesting for me in real life and also in stories when people lean so heavily on their faith, they just trust it'll go well. I'm not like that. So the whole time when they were being like, oh, soul will save us, or we just have to believe and have faith, it made me so mad when they said Helena even like saying they should use necromancy just for like basic tasks. They're like, that was a test from the faith, and I'm like, huh? Girl, what? No. And then lastly with the plot, the commentary war, I think, I've said it before and I'll say it again, it's so interesting to see how far people will go, who will break their ethics. I think at the end of the day, everyone does in some way. It's just in what ways they do. And then also if like you're not willing to take a risk for some things, like there will be repercussions for it. It was just very interesting to me to read all of that. Notable scenes though, I forgot about the rings connecting them, and we find out that Cain was wearing his, that they used to communicate together. Helena and Cain, they had like rings that would burn if they need to see each other. I forgot that he was wearing that the whole time, and like she was gone in a tank for 19 months after she was captured. That was like, the repopulation program. I was like, oh, I understand. I don't understand, but like I can see like the Undying being like, we need to build a stronger army. It was crazy to me that they wanted to build or create an animancer to put Cetus's body in a new one. That was the crazy thing. Like when Luce, that was my biggest mind blown moment, was when it was revealed Luce was a leech and Moreau was inside of him. I thought like he had just turned him into an Undying so that in order for Moreau to stay alive or die, Luce would have to die first. Not that he was controlling him, and then he used him to kill Elva, Luce's aunt. I was literally shook. I like normally predict plot twists, but that one I was like, oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. The other crazy ones were Blackthorn and then turning Titus into like cannibals, and then Titus skinning his wife in front of everyone eating. I was like, oh my god. Oh my god. And I don't know what it was, but those like really like freaked me out. Cannibalism, I'm like, I don't know what it is about that, but I'm just like, no thank you, no thank you. And then I just want Apollo and Enid to fall in love. It was cute. They were both named after their parents' in memory of them. I love their, oh my gosh, how could I forget my favorite character, Amaris, are, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the words, this chimera, are like wolf horse flying creature of Cain's that grew attached to Helena and rescues them. And I was so sad when they left her behind, but then she found them again. I'm like, yes, the family is reunited. It's okay. Those are the top things that come to my mind. I think it was just like the callbacks between like the different parts, the romance build up, the possessiveness, the like, I'll burn the world down for you, the magic. There was just so much going on that was like completely engulfing my brain, and I loved it. Let's go to the quotes. We got a couple. So this book is heavy. Okay, this is not necessarily a great quote in the sense that Lancaster is an Undying person. He doesn't really matter. He captured Helena. Oh, the bombing. I didn't even talk about the bombing. I loved Helena for literally using necromancy and creating necrothralls to bomb the lab that would then protect Cain's identity from being identified, that he got Lila out. I love that they're like, why does healer know how to build bombs? And she just absolutely took him out and was able to fight. Girl boss. Lancaster, when he first sees Helena, he's like, wait, I recognized you. And he captured her after she bombed that lab. He says, when I saw you in the ruins of the lab, everything in flames, the sky blazing, and all those thralls around you, you looked like Lumithia, born from fire. And I know Lancaster's like evil, and we don't like him. But that quote, I was like, queen. Yeah, that's right. She's a queen. Oh my gosh, this next one, I forgot about it. So Cain was put in arranged marriage to be with Aurelia. She has, I think, iron manipulation and feel fire. His like country home, I believe, has a lot of iron. So from an alchemical, that's even a word, compatibility standpoint, him being a vivimancer and also an animancer with iron, a very strong iron manipulator, they would have strong children. She mentions that her parents were cousins when they were like, oh, it's iron resonance. I forgot. They're like, magic is called resonance. And they're like, we can create a pure iron resonance child. And I'm like, you guys are cousins. Sweet Home Alabama. Weirdos. Maybe that's why she's a little messed up. Oh, our next one is just, Cain was saying he is completely blindsided by Helena. And he's like, you're like a rose in a graveyard. I wonder what you could have turned into without the war. A rose in a graveyard. Beauty in a dead area. Oh, this next one. This is probably the most attractive thing Cain said. He had specially made weapons made for her because her resonance was most compatible with titanium and nickel. So he built her specialty weapons for that molded to her body in different places. He said there's size for you: titanium and nickel is a mnemonic, or mnemonic. See, I can't say things, guys. Alloy, which will allow you to transmute them further than most weapons. They'll still return to form. It has 3 memory shapes depending on the resonance phase you use, and you can alter them if you wish. That's why the sheets are malleable. Literally the most attractive thing he does for her is make her personalized. That's a lie, but for me, I was just like, yes, yes, king. Oh, when this last, okay, not this last one, but this next one is just when Ilva like admits that she's making miracles for Luke and for Luce, and that the faith isn't really like, isn't very valid. And I was reading this and I was like, you guys are manipulating history. Shame on you. Oh, and then the last one, you guys know that audio? I forgot what it's from. It's like, you called, I came. Or it's, it's you came, and it's like you called. Or like the thing, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
Came.
You called.
It's just, Kane and Helen are constantly like not sure when the last time they'll see each other is. He just goes, call me and I will come. And he always promised that he would, except for when she got captured because he wasn't able to find her. All right, that's kind of my overall thoughts on Alchemized. It was super fun. I very much enjoyed it. I really like the alchemy. I really like the war commentary. I enjoyed the romance. The ending made me want to... Oh my god. Okay. Hands down. Weapons down, Emily. Overall, it was just really fun. Actually, I don't know if it's fun. It was an enjoyable read that left me very frustrated and mad, but I like to think that Helena and Kane's names, they got remembered. Not that it matters to them, but I like to think. I gave 5 stars. Cute cover. Love. I have been looking forward to this book for years, and it completely delivered in my mind. I'm not sure what to do with myself now, but that's okay. But let me know, did you guys like it, dislike it? What did I miss? What do you want to chat about? What should we read next? Let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you guys sometime new soon. If I'm not here, I may be over on other socials, Instagram, TikTok, depending on my mood. Doctor's orders were to work on my stress management, so I might not be uploading as frequently. Maybe we'll post twice a week, maybe we'll post once a month. I don't know what the future holds. I appreciate you guys, love you guys very much, and can't wait to do another book review with you guys. Otherwise, ta-ta for now. We'll see you next time.